Well, let's see. I was born in Mayberry, North Carolina. My mom met my stepdad that worked at Bassett Furniture, so we relocated Christmas of my first grade year in school. And I went from living on a dirt road in Mannery and living in a small mobile home to moving into a Bassett Furniture Company house that you paid $7 a month for rent, and you got your power from Bassett, and you got your water out of the spring that they provided for you, and you had an outhouse. And that's how I grew up until I was 12 years old. But in the meantime, we would go down to the railroad track, get chunks of coal in our buckets on Saturdays and bring it back up to help put in the stove. But sometimes we play in the garden during the summer. But the outhouse, you had to worry. During the summertime, you had to worry about snakes. In wintertime, you had to scrape ice off the seat. So that's something you don't forget as a kid. When I was 12 years old, we moved to South Bassett. And from there, I started washing cars at South Bassett Motors for Buell Thomas. Helped put myself through school. My mom was disabled. For 4 kids, she got $215 a month disability. My stepdad was making about $2.85 working at Bassett Furniture. And Bassett Community Center is where I lived until I was 18, I guess. Every day that it was open, I was there playing sports. And in high school, my junior and senior year, I'd get down to school at 6 o'clock, set the plates and knives out for lunch and get paid. And that's how I paid my senior pictures and my class key, and that's how I paid my car payment when I was in school, which was $67 a month for a little Toyota Celica. The politics side, seeing what was going on in the district, I'm getting ready to retire eventually. I've been in business 40 years. I'm 64 years old. I got laid off at Bassett Walker the day I closed down on my first house, didn't have a job, had a 30-year mortgage. And I realized then how tough life could be. So 3 years ago, when I put a tiny house up in Blackberry, after about a week of working on it, I saw how bad the roads were, how much trash it was. And when I'd go to John Adams to get materials, I saw how bad some of the houses looked. And then going to some of the jobs in the area, I go through the side roads and it looked horrible. And then Bournes Creek, grew up going to Bournes Creek, and you can't go down, it's not safe now. And it looks like he filmed the movie Deliverance, as I've told everybody. It just looks horrible. And it started hitting me that nobody goes to Bournes Creek because they're scared, they're afraid, and it looks so bad. So with growing up Bassett Community Center closed and living on Blackberry, with the tiny house being put there, I knew it was going to be an investment for me, but I was not going to be able to rent it as an Airbnb. With the looks of the district, just Blackberry Road itself, there's no way I could get people come in there and rent that tiny house because they'd be afraid to, the way everything looked. And as you come up Blackberry, you got the center closed. I cleaned the fence off because it looked so bad. I cleaned it off myself. Then as you're going up, the third house on the left, it's got a hole in the roof. Kudzu covers the whole house now. It's just sitting there. As you go around the curve, you got the dump, and then you got Eanes' store, which is collapsed. The roof on it's caved in. All the junk sitting around it. And then before you get to my house, you got another house that was bought at auction. The roof on it's caved in at the back. It's abandoned. As you go around the driveway where I've got my tiny house, 1,000 yards, you got another house that people on drugs living in. There's no walls, there's no windows, no doors. And they've set the woods on fire twice. So with all this right here taking place, I went to Jim Adams. I saw him at a Fats concert at Fieldale, and I had somebody with me. I was on a date. And I asked him point blank, what are you gonna do about the grass being 4 feet high on Blackberry because it's scratching the side of my car? When you go up the road, if you meet another car, you're gonna scratch your car, the grass is so high. He said it wasn't his problem, it's VDOT's problem. So then I talked to him about Bassett Community Center. He says a private entity, it's not his problem. I said, you're on the Piedmont board, that's all you talk about. So you can't get no help for him? He says, not my problem. So I talked to him about the field house at Bassett High School, because when I was president of the Kiwanis in 2000, we put money aside to help build the building, and the Bassett Furniture donated money. And his exact words to me, as long as I'm supervisor of Blackberry District, there will be no field house. We only play 5 football games a year. And I said, what about soccer in the upper 90? He said, nobody cares about soccer at Bassett. And that's when he hit me, he's out of touch with reality. He's out of touch because soccer is one of the biggest things going right now, especially at Bassett High School. In the upper 90s, their budget's huge. So I tried to talk to him, and he wanted to walk away from me. And I just felt like he was instead of talking to me like a taxpayer and with respect, knowing him personally, he just talked down to me. And I asked him twice, do you know who you're talking to? And I just didn't get the response I wanted. And he more or less, like, if you can do better, go ahead. So here it is 3 years later. And I'm not going to ask him to do anything else. I'm going to get elected Blackberry supervisor. I'm going to show him what should have been done and what could have been done over the last 24 years that would have saved Blackberry from being in the place it's at now. The thing that bothers me is he didn't have a platform until I ran for supervisor. And once I put all the houses up showed it at the press release, the houses need to be tore down in Blackberry, how bad it is. He goes and does a commercial and points out the same properties that I put up that day. I done a YouTube video showing it. I did up my own commercial showing it. And now he's done one copying me. And the thing about it, the houses look like that because of him. If I was a supervisor, I'd be totally embarrassed to put pictures of houses in my district that I'm responsible for the last 24 years. And when I did a FOIA request, I found out on the budget for the supervisors and the line item on the budget, he got $36,000 this year and $32,000 last year to tear down the properties that need to be demolished. He didn't act on it. He didn't act on it. When I went door knocking, I got Fairmont Drive. Over 20 years, they've been waiting on water out through there. They still carry water to their house so they can cook, and so they can't even wash their clothes in the water, some of the houses. And they've been begging for it. And when I mentioned Supervisor Adams, they said it's a waste of time. The only time you see him is when he wants your signature to run for office again. And every road, don't take my word for it, every road in the Blackberry District, if you go down every road in the Blackberry District, except for the street he lives on, Delwood, where he lives, every road you go down has houses falling down, houses that's burnt down, old cars, junk around the houses. And I don't want to violate nobody's privacy, nobody's rights, but you got to respect your neighbors and respect the community. It's not fair to have somebody manicure their yard, take care of it, and be a senior citizen. And then you go down the street and there's 5 or 10 junk cars upside down, fenders missing, been laying there for years, rusting away. It just hurts the whole area. It keeps you with no infrastructure. You're not going to advance. But when I say infrastructure, you got these dilapidated houses, you got old cars. That means a real estate company can't sell property in that area. So that hurts the person that's got property for sale. That hurts the value of people's properties if they want to get equity out of it and remodel their house or borrow money for something. The equity is going to be low because of what the neighbors do to them around them. And as long as the taxes, as long as you're paying taxes for the county to provide you different things, that's not, you're not getting what you pay for. Well, the broken window theory, if you read it, it says, if you allow a broken window in the house, then you allow trash in the yard, and then that produces drugs. Drugs comes into the area. So if you lost control of your community, and when you lose control of your community, there's no reason to live there. And now things are so bad, people just have learned to accept it in the community. I've been talking to people. I eat at the Firestone Grill 2 or 3 times a week, especially on weekends in the mornings. And the people come in there from, like this last Sunday, somebody from Georgia was there. And they were staying at one of the parks up the road. And they were talking about how nice it is up there, but Firestone Park and Goose Point, they stand at Goose Point. But when they come down to Bassett, it looks horrible. And the people that used to live here, they haven't been back home in 20 years, they give a different description of it. Because they don't realize Russell's gone, Peanut's gone, they don't realize kudzu, they don't realize the plants are gone. Your community has to respect itself. And because of what's happening right now, a lot of people have just accepted what you see. And it shouldn't be that way. You know, these places like Firestone Grill, Papa's Pizza, and Village Market depends on tourism money to survive. Not just our money, but tourism money. And tourism money is what's going to get Blackberry turned back around. And if you noticed, my incumbent never has said the word tourism until I started talking about it. And the one thing, he said tourism brings $70 million, $70.4 million into the district, into the county. I'm trying to figure out what happened, because in 2020, when we give the racetrack, redid the bathrooms and made sure we had 2 races guaranteed. If you remember, the chamber and the supervisors campaigned on $177 million in tourism money coming here just for the racetrack alone. So if they brought $1 billion worth of infrastructure here, and that's all you hear about, how the numbers don't add up. Another thing is the PSA. And I'm going to talk about it until somebody listens. 5 years ago, we could have settled the PSA sewage problem with the city. Now we've had to pay the city $5 million. And then Judge Greer fined us $1,000 a day, fined us the county. So they had to pay $43,800 in penalties. And now the city knows they got problems with their municipal building. They need a place for a courthouse. The county has refused to talk to them. Now, I've been talking to Dale Wagner, calling him, and he said if they want to reach out to him. My thing is, why can't he reach out to them himself and say, look, we're extending our hand. You know, you got the shire, you're sharing on different buildings. Revenue sharing, you got revenue sharing on Commonwealth Crossing, you got on Patriot Center. So why can't you reach your hand out and say, hey, look, we got buildings empty at the courthouse that you could rent from us. It'd be good for both people. The city would have somewhere to hold court, and then the county would be getting money out of it. I don't understand why it's such a big thing. If I hear one more person say something about Martinsville football beat me in 1975, who cares about that? I mean, this is 2025. We're trying to survive right now. Nobody cares nothing about a stupid football game in 1975. So what? I just don't understand why we can't. If I'm on the board, I'm going to make a promise to Blackberry voters. I'm on the board. I'm going to do everything I can to make sure the city of Martinsville flourishes, does well, because we do not want reversion. Jim Adams fought for reversion to the last day that they stopped it. The last day they stopped it, he fought for it. All 3 times he voted for it. Reversion means they annex 10 miles out from the city limits. That means they take all our tax revenue from the racetrack, Patriot Center, Sheetz, and Walmart. That means they take land 10 miles out and you pay double taxation. So for the people that thinks reversion is forgotten, it's not, because within 2 years, the city can come back with it. All they got to do is overturn what they voted on, let the voters in the city vote for it. And here we go again, talking about reversion. Also, the 1% for the school. People need to remember that, because Mr. Adams voted for the schools 1% to be taken. The Attorney General ruled it was illegal and they give it back. So what he did, he voted to cut the budget $2 million. In Mr. Adams' first year, he admitted himself, 2002 is when he was elected. So about almost 24 years now, the school used to get 72 to 74% from the supervisors. They get 0 last year. They got 0. Our school system's 131 out of 132. What Fortune 500 company wants to come to Henry County knowing that their school system's next to last in the state? We got so much that needs to be changed, and we can't do it overnight. We see what's happened for 24 years. So it's time that we stop what's taking place and take control of our communities. And the trash and grass is great for people that's what they're campaigning on. I'm not campaigning on trash and grass. I'm campaigning on everything needs to be done in Blackberry. You got your infrastructure, you got your tourism, you got your affordable housing. The biggest thing is going to be transparency. There'll be no more $186,000 Tim Hall pavilions built without anyone knowing it in December, and it being a screened-in porch, and you had a supervisor claimed it's a training center. Like the lady said, were you training Eskimos? But the Dick and Willie Trail, it does come through Blackberry, but yet you hear about how great it is. Blackberry does not have a soccer complex. You know, Ridgeway just put their own little soccer complex in. You got a pickle court pickleball court. Just you saw Jim Adams there with the ribbon down in Fieldale. He's bragging on the pool at Fieldale. He's bragging on everything Fieldale got. He's bragging about it. What his own district. He's running. He's in Blackberry, but yet he's down there at Fieldale bragging on what they've got and what he's helped them get. When's he going to brag on what he's done for Blackberry? That's what I want to know. No, because it comes from leadership. You got a leader in Dale Wagner, which is a lifetime resident. Your problem with the city, they got an outsider here that was corrupt at the last place, according to what the media says, and where she was fired. She was corrupt to start with. This was like when Henry County brought up Sid Clower here. Sid Clower had bankrupted the public utilities in Pulaski. My uncle called and told me, but nobody wouldn't listen. So it's all about leadership. Dale Wagner is a good leader. I don't think with what Sid Clower did, I don't think our PSA director and our county administrator should be the same. I think it should be separated because you got two different budgets, you got two entities. I think it should be separated. The biggest thing I see needs to be repealed is the $200,000 that can be, Dale Wagner can spend $200,000 without any vote from the supervisors or the taxpayers. It was 50 before COVID. They changed it to 200. You saw what Tim Hall done. As soon as they changed it, he goes and builds a screened-in picnic shelter, and I'm the one named it to Tim Hall Pavilion. So let's get that straight. I need credit where credit's due. When they built that building, I called it the Tim Hall Pavilion. When he retired, they got a plaque put on there, Tim Hall Pavilion. I think my name needs to go above it. I think it should be Ray Reynolds dedicated Tim Hall Pavilion because I came up with the name. Well, you should vote for me because I'm honest. I'm not going to say I'm honest. That's already in a commercial. But everybody knows I'm an honest person. Everybody knows I've been in business 40 years. And people can approach me. I'm approachable. When I'm out in public, a few people call me Mr. Reynolds. But when I go to football games, I go out to eat, people say, "How you doing, Ray? I need this, I need that." People call me, "Ray, can you help me do this? I got this problem." So I'm approachable. The next thing is, I'm going to make sure, I've already been talking to Eric Phillips and Ren Williams, our local delegates. VDOT has to have a fund for kudzu. People laugh about it all they want, but it's a serious issue. I know one lineman for AEP worked 45 hours overtime because kudzu broke so many power lines. So we got to get the kudzu under control. It affects everything we got here. It affects our infrastructure, our tourism. It affects everything, the beauty of our area. So we've got to get it under control. So we need a fund for kudzu. Next thing is we cannot go mow grass 3 times a year. That's ridiculous. Every time temperature gets down to 30 and you even think it's going to rain, VDOT puts chemicals on the road. Every time. It doesn't matter how many times they do it. If they can do that, they can get something to do with the kudzu. We need a fund for kudzu from the state. I don't know if Bill Stanley can help, Morgan Griffith can help. We need a fund for kudzu and also for the grass. Mowing the grass 3 times is ridiculous. That's got to be fixed. So we need to change that. All right, once you get the place, your community looking livable and presentable, then you can try to get infrastructure into the community, get new homes, affordable housing. Right now, you got houses on Sunnybrook. There's a house been laying on the ground up there, halfway burnt down for 15 years. Until I put it on my commercial, Mr. Adams had never cared about it. Now it's on his commercial. It's gonna be tore down. It's on the list to be tore down. That's another thing. We got a problem with all the houses gonna be tore down. You saw in the newspaper, 39 houses gonna be tore down, $390,000. I've talked to Cindy that's in the building inspector's office. She's got over 100 houses submitted with another 100 coming. Where's that money gonna come from? But the biggest thing I've done to help is by pointing out these houses that need to be tore down or remodeled. Some of the people are coming forward, catching their taxes up so the house won't be tore down or the structure, and now they're starting to remodel it. That's gonna be more tax revenue for our tax base. So I've talked to Scott Grindstaff, treasurer, has told me that by the fact these people are paying back taxes, they're also going to fix the houses, so that'd be more tax revenue. Now, one of the houses that was in a commercial, my opponent's commercial, that house was bought at auction. It was going to be remodeled. the tax on it is $500 or $600 a year. Because he put it on TV and didn't notify the homeowner and embarrassed him, they tore that house down. So now there will be no remodeling, which is lost income. There will be no house for taxes. So now the county's lost tax money. The thing that I want to make sure is we address the problems that we can take care of ourselves right now. You've already saw the grass is starting to be mowed because I'm calling people out on TV like, hey, this is our community, we can do better. I'm not singling nobody out, but I'm saying we can do better as a community. So now you got people hadn't mowed their yard 2 or 3 years doing that. The investment properties, landlords, they need to be held accountable for their properties. If they're empty, that's not the county's problem. That's their problem. Still maintain it. That needs to be. We need to start giving fines out. Or got an ordinance. It needs to be enforced. So Wayne Davis needs more resources to enforce the ordinance on grass and trash and the old cars. Take care of that. We need more water and sewer in our area. And that's why I made the joke about if I get on the board of supervisors, maybe I get permission from Deborah Buchanan to get water and sewer to Blackberry. Because everything you see in the paper is going to horse pasture. Everything you see is about Deborah Buchanan getting water and sewer. It has for a number of years. So now I think it's time that we pass the crown and it come to Blackberry. I think Blackberry should not be the black sheep of the district. It shouldn't be the forgotten forgotten district. We should get respect also. I want to make Blackberry better again, like it was. We're not going to bring furniture back. We're not going to bring textiles back. But we can bring other things with tourism can bring money in. Philpott Lake 20 years ago was, Smith River was #1 in the nation for trout fishing 20-some years ago. That can happen again if we just get out there and promote it. Philpott Lake needs to be promoted. These people from Georgia told me they came here just to see Philpott Lake. That's one of the things they want to see while they were here. Now, when I went to the tourism website for Richmond, it's a tourism website, small towns and things to do. All they have is Martinsville, didn't have Bassett on it. So when I called Richmond, they said it hadn't been submitted. So, we need to promote all we can, Philpott Lake and Smith River, because the Blackberry district is the prettiest district in the whole county. A lot of people don't realize that, but it is. With Philpott Lake and Smith River, we've got the prettiest district and we need to promote it. People know my number, they know how to approach me. They know I will do what I can. If I can't give you an answer, I'll have you answer within 24 hours, possible. If you've got a problem, like Wayne Davis says, it's not our job to cut tree limbs. The AEP or VDOT's in charge of that. So there's going to be some things people are still going to be mad about because they don't understand how it works. You can't, because a man's got 2 lawnmowers in his yard and a couch in the front yard he wants to sit in and watch traffic go by, you can't go remove that. You got rights. But these other things like the cars, no tags, windshields knocked out of them, been sitting there 20 years, that can be fixed. Grass not been mowed in 3 or 4 years, that can be fixed. One thing we got to find out what we're going to do about the taxes. The house sitting on Riverside, no tax has been paid since 2017. We got another house tax that's been paid since 2015. That needs to be stopped. I don't know how we're going to stop it, but it needs to be addressed because our tax revenue, a lot of people don't realize the budget is $225 million, but we only get $95 million from taxpayers. The rest comes from the state and federal government. All right, that $95 million is supposed to be collected by our treasurer. Well, this year we're going to have a shortfall. It's not going to be a 95% collection rate. It's going to be a 91%. So we're going to have a shortfall of $4 million. So something's got to be cut. When you short $4 million, something's got to be cut. So a lot of these things we need to address. I know the pad sites are great to have ready for buildings, but we cannot continue to keep building buildings when we got all these buildings empty. I had a gentleman call me. He said about a year ago, Rural King wanted to bring their distribution center here with 200 people. They couldn't get any support from, I guess, EDC in the county. Now this is what a guy told me on the phone, hearsay. And he said they couldn't get any support. So we didn't get that. And then there was another company who wanted to come in here and do manufacturing of tiny houses. Again, he couldn't get any support. So we may could have had those. But now we've lost Nautica. I mean, we get ready to lose Radio. They're going to announce it this week. They're not going to renew their lease. We're going to lose that. There's talk at Eastman's moving out of the Stanley building. That's going to be empty over at the Patriot Center. So it's possible we could have anywhere from 9 to 11 buildings empty, yet we still building buildings. So, you know, Blackberry has a long ways to go. I've showed what can happen just in a few months of getting the kudzu up off the Russells and Peanuts and the guardrails. You know, it's one thing I called Lisa with VDOT. And she said the kudzu, she didn't have the money for it, didn't have the equipment for it. So when I asked her who was the next of kin when somebody got killed on a motorcycle because of kudzu, the next day they started spraying. They sprayed for 2 weeks. Sometimes you just can't tell no for an answer. You got to keep pushing. And I'm the kind of guy, you're not just going to tell me no. When we're paying taxes, we need to get what we pay for. You know, we're paying taxes for a reason. Blackberry can be better. It will be better if I'm supervisor. I'm not going to run but for one term, so I'll make that plain. If I run the office, it's going to be one term. And I'm going to do all I can for those 4 years. Every day, I'm going to do all I can. I'm going to be like Obama. When I wake up, I'm going to think of Blackberry every day. The one thing I'd like is all the people I'm asking to vote for me, you know what I stand for, you know what I'm going to do. Before November 4th, you're going to see this, what I'm saying. So will you please contact Jim Adams, the incumbent that's been on the job 24 years. Can you get him to tell you what he's done in the Blackberry district for the last 24 years and what is his plans for the next 4 years? And the next thing is, ask him if he's in good health. Ask him if he's up for the job. If he's getting ready to turn 71 years old, ask him if he's in good enough health to do this job for 4 more years.